Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer, sponsored by Arnold Clark. I'm Peter Martin. It's Tuesday. It's a big night in Scotland. We've got three guests tonight. Alan Ruff, as ever, alongside me. We have Alison McConnell of the Herald and Times. And we also have Simon Donnelly here as well to look towards a big night for Scotland. Yes, winner bust in the Nations League for Scotland, Ruffy, because I know that you've had great difficulty following the permutations of this Nations League and eventually trying to qualify for Euro 2020. Basically, I think tonight is about trying to give ourselves a great opportunity to have two hits at getting to a major championships.
Yeah, I think it's a confidence builder for all these young players who have been thrown into the international setup. If we were to win this, I think the place would be absolutely jumping, and we know what it's like when we've got a national team who are winning games. Everybody walks about with a smile on their face, so that's what I hope happens tonight. I hope the guys can come through it quite easily. Yeah, OK, Alison, I like a bit of tribalism, so I'm going to suggest to you that maybe in certain sections of the broadcast media, we've tried to keep a level head on it. So from your compatriots in the written media, have most of them gone overboard on that win over Albania, or is there a certain sense of, listen, there's still a job to do?
Oh, absolutely. I think, first of all, I think it's not very often that Scotland beat anyone 4-0 in circumstances such as Saturday nights. I think going into the game there was a lot of apprehension given the volume of call-offs and the magnitude of the players who had pulled out. So I think you're entitled to come away and enjoy it for a day or two. I think sometimes we've had plenty of doom and gloom for the last 2 decades. I think you're entitled to come away and enjoy a sense of optimism for however long that may last. Yeah,
we are Scottish. We like to see a dark cloud on a sunny day. Simon Donnelly, Alison's right. It was a good win. It was against Albania. Let's temper our enthusiasm and suggest that tonight, if you're playing against a team ranked 91st in the FIFA rankings, you should be thinking Scotland should win at home.
We should be thinking that, but us as Scotland sometimes make heavy weather of it. I think the performance the other night was really good as well, though. I think the young boys coming in, I think we've got a lot of energy and pace in the team, Peter, and I think getting into this game tonight, they'll be boosted for that performance, confidence, and I think I'd be amazed if it isn't the same starting 11, and I think we've got enough there to beat Israel.
Yep, OK. Our reporter Gabriel Antoniazzi is looking forward to it at Hampden Park.
Welcome to Hampden Park, where Scotland will be taking on Israel later this evening. They arrive here off the back of a 4-0 thrashing of Albania on Saturday night, where Alex McLeish picked a young, energetic side. He's expected to stick with the same team with no fresh injury concerns. Israel come into the game in good form, winning their last 3 games at an aggregate score of 11-1. However, they have a poor record away from home, losing 4 of their last 5 and lost 3-1 to Scotland in 1981 in their only previous visit to Glasgow. Israel manager Andy Herzog said that his team are ready for a real fight at Hampden. A player sure to be involved in that battle is centre-half Scott McKenna, who said his teammates are brimming with confidence ahead of the game.
The confidence is in the group from Saturday to go out and play the way we did. It just fills everyone with so much more belief, and we've got to try and replicate it.
The players may be confident, but it is surely the biggest game many of them have played in a Scotland shirt with so much at stake. Alex McLeish understands this and said qualifying would be a huge success.
There's no doubt in that what happens if we win, and we can be happy with that success.
Now, if Scotland do win this evening, they'll be promoted to League B, with the likes of recently relegated Germany and Croatia, as well as teams such as Wales and World Cup quarter-finalist Sweden. In terms of Euro 2020 qualification, it would give them a safety net of a playoff if they don't qualify through the traditional routes. That playoff would be in March 2020 and would contain Finland, Norway or Bulgaria, and most likely Serbia, depending on the results this evening. That is, of course, all hypothetical, and first thing is first, Scotland must beat Israel tonight.
Yeah, we must beat them. Finland, Norway or Bulgaria, Serbia potentially in that playoff pathway to Euro 2020. Interestingly enough, Ruffy Gabriel, our reporter, he's a young journalist. He did say to me and frightened the life out of me, he said, you know, I had a look, he says, I can't believe we used to qualify regularly for World Cup finals. 5 in a row. And I said, you know, when we were growing up, we thought we qualified all the time for everything.
Yeah, there was a time when we used to qualify quite regularly, you know, and comfortably as well. I don't remember scraping through any of the groups. I know it's a different format now. There are more teams in the groups, which obviously makes it a bit harder. But the group when we qualified, when we played Israel in '81, was quite a hard group. We had Portugal in it, with Israel in it. So that was a difficult one to come through that one. But no, I think when we played them at Hampden, we beat them 3-1. And I always say, and I know it's old school, just get in about them right away. I remember Jock Stein saying that, you know, get them on the back foot, you know, get the ball wide, John Robertson, get it to players who are going to, you know, hurt you, you know, and we've got Forrest, you know, and the wee boy Fraser, and they should be on the ball as much as possible in the early part of the game. We need to start on the front foot because, as I said, the only thing it's going to do is, I think tonight, is just inexperience and having to handle any kind of setback. So the sooner we go up in the game, the better, and I think everybody will just get pulling in the right direction.
Yeah, you see, I'll be honest with you, Rafi, I thought there was a certain wry smile coming across Simon Donnelly's face there because Jock's tactics didn't really need to be too intricate because you were handing the ball over to a guy who'd maybe won the European Cup twice, John Robertson. You were, you know, then passing it over to a guy in the middle of the park who was Douglas, who'd won it 3 times. I mean,
listen, I was a kid coming through at that time watching games at Hampden, and you're spoiled for choice with the players on view. Douglas, obviously my hero, but you'd other ones there as well. You know, fantastic strikers, Mo Johnson, McCoy's coming through. You know, we had a luxury. But I think this, I've said for long and weary now, I think we've got players there that are good enough to go and qualify on their own, never mind this insurance playoff. I think we've got players there. Forrest is at the top of his game. McGregor, I think, is going to, you know, carve a niche out there in the middle of the park. I think we've got players, even Fletcher coming back the other night, I thought linked up really well. He had players running off him. I think we've got a lot to be positive about. Yeah,
and with that in mind, and Alison, you'll know more often than not, following the Premiership in Scotland, I mentioned to Ruffy, if we were stopping right now, James Forrest would easily land Player of the Year, I think, unless you've got another name that might contend with him.
Well, without question, and I think for me, in the aftermath of Saturday night, you're thinking back to that Israel game and wondering, you know, if he starts, would it have made a difference? I think that was one that a lot of us were left scratching our heads over. But without question, I think over the last 18 months his performances have been remarkably consistent. He's added goals now to it, he's confident, he's strong, he's got pace. I just think without doubt he is the player just now that you would look to make something happen. He's creative, he's got that great vision now. I think he's 27, he's playing at the peak of his career, and I think these are the players that you want now to be bringing in and trying to carve your side around almost.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting point, but I'm not so sure, Ruffy, he would have made... if I'm going to be critical of Alec and why we find ourselves going down to the wire in this group is, I don't think James Forrest would have made that much of a difference because I thought Alex's overall approach to the Israel game was cautious. I mean, at times the whole tactic, they were coming on to his wave after wave, albeit John Souttar gets sent off, doesn't help the case, but I just felt it was overly cautious. Suddenly, you know, by hook or by crook, he's got a team together and the confidence there. Alex said himself, he can see it in their eyes.
No, I would agree. I think maybe if you got Alec to admit to why he never played for us, particularly coming off of the European game, you know, and the international, I think it was maybe something he wished he had done after seeing what he did at the weekend there, because that goal he scored was, I mean, nobody's even talking about it. It was a fantastic bit of skill, you know, to flick it round the up in there and then strike it. And that'll give him a lot of confidence, you know, international level. We know what he can do with Celtic in the European games, but international wise, I think he's going to be a massive player tonight.
Yeah, 11 goals scored, 1 conceded for Israel. Andreas Herzog has basically thrown down the gauntlet to them, Simon, and said, listen, this is a chance for Israel to make a little bit of history. They've come a long way. Yeah, it's a big game for them as well. You know, they put themselves in a position like we have. You know,
winner takes all, so to speak. But I just feel on the back of the performance at the weekend, I think at Hampden, I think the crowd will be boosted by it as well. You know, we can kind of scoff at the 4-0, but as Alison says, when do we score 4 goals away from home? So I think we can take a lot from it, and I think the boys will be right up for it tonight.
Yeah. Has he stumbled into that lineup? Has he just? I mean, I always think you've got to be better be lucky than good, haven't you?
It's funny because everybody was getting the call-offs last week. I was thinking myself, it would just be typical of us to kind of create a team there and go and get a result. You know, just on the quirks of football.
Yeah, I thought. I mean, the good thing about it is with 11 against Albania, we've got better players, but they did play a style of football. They did have a threat, and I think that comes with wingers. Mm-hmm. Creative players, as you mentioned, Alison. I think we need creative players. We need people who like to go forward rather than this containment and going, you know, from one side of the park to the other. You need people like Forrest, head down, goes. I
also thought Christie showed up actually very well in that, you know, in the team. I thought he played really well. I thought the weight of the pass just for Forrest for that second goal was good, and I thought he really tried to get the ball forward. He tried to link the midfield with the forward men. But I think the interesting thing about tonight is it's a different kind of pressure to the pressure from Saturday. Saturday you're going there trying to think, right, let's not come away with, let's just try even for a draw, or come away with some kind of positive result. Tonight you're going and the expectation levels are different. Now on the back of that 4-0 win, you're going and you're anticipating a victory over Israel and you're thinking about topping the group. I think there's a different...
Suit us.
Exactly. Yeah. I think there's a different pressure playing when you're expected to win than when the chips are down, like in Saturday night, and there's adverse circumstances around the squad. So it'll be interesting to see what the mentality is within the team now and how you cope with that.
If I was Ryan Christie, Ruffy, I'd do the lottery. Just do the lottery. It's when everything he touches at the moment turns to gold.
Yeah, and that's why he's in the side. That's why we need him. He's the kind of player who wants to get in the box. He wants to be run about the box. He wants to have goals, you know, which is always good from a midfield point of view. I would just like to see us opening a team up. As I said to you last week there, that the only goals we've scored are from free kicks and corners, you know, since the England game. You know, and it'd be great from our point of view early on, you know, to just play through them and somebody to strike a tremendous shot into the top of the net. Yeah, and of course, Alison, £1 million, if they should get past this section of it, always helps when you're buying Hampden Park. Well, it's not insignificant, is it? I don't think anything's insignificant when it comes to bringing money into the game, so there's definitely a financial bonus here if you come out on top of the group, but let's be honest, I think this is really about what happens on the park. It's about bringing a wee bit of credibility, restoring some faith, a bit of optimism, a wee bit of confidence back to a team who were really struggling in those previous 8 games prior to Saturday. So I think really it's about what you're doing on the pitch. The money's always going to be welcome, whatever spin-off there is financially that comes from topping the table, you're going to accept with open arms. But ultimately what it comes down to is what it means for the players and what it means for the team. Yeah, I'm going to talk about money in the next couple of minutes, but I'm going to get your predictions, guys. First of all, Ruffy, what do you think? I don't think this team have got 2 goals in them. I do think we have got 2 goals in us, so I'm going to go for 2-1 Scotland. Yeah, it's the transformation in you, Ruffy, is unbelievable. Honestly, if I had to show you a graph of how you think we've got goals, we don't have goals, suddenly we've got them again. So Scotland to win, and I'm delighted at your optimism, Alison. 2-1 Scotland. 2-1. She's with Ruffy in the camp. Simon? I think we're going to take the form of the weekend into this one and win 3-0. 3-0. God, that's unbelievably optimistic as well. Okay, I'll go 2-0, see where we end up with this one. It's all about guesswork. You can give us your view on this on our YouTube channel, on at Twitter, PLZ Soccer, and also on Facebook, PLZ Soccer as well. Try and give us your view before the game finishes, then we'll see if you have any credibility in this one. Talking of money, it's something important in the game, more coming into the game. I'm not going to get into the meat and bones of who's lost out, and undoubtedly the worst thing that you can possibly feel in negotiations is if you have a team of people, broadcasters, who lose out on a deal, but the deals are made at such a high level. It's Sky that's come up with about 160 million in 2020 to broadcast the Premiership in Scotland. Money, I think, that is very welcome when you consider we were in the doldrums, scraping the barrel, pleading with Sky to save the game, a few years ago. Yeah, and the product must be getting better. These companies wouldn't be paying that kind of money Obviously Rangers back with the Rangers Celtic games will be a big pull, and they'll be hoping there is many of them to come. But no, I think the good thing about it is all the other clubs will get a spin-off. I've said this on numerous occasions, I do hope it goes down the divisions. They've got a big part to play in Scottish football, but it's a lot of money, but still nowhere near the money that England are getting, and we can't expect to be getting that kind of money anyway.
Yeah, I think if you start looking through the window down south, you know, many a continent, many a country will look at it and think, you know, we're poor neighbours to England. If everybody starts looking down at what they're getting, you're on a hiding to nothing, Alison.
I think you've got to take the best deal that you can get, and I think for all the talk the last few weeks about BT and what they bring and the punditry and the humour that they've injected, and it's been a bit more colourful and they've shown a greater interest and a greater awareness of their audience, I think ultimately what it comes down to is how much are you willing to pay for it. And the fact is that Sky have tabled a far superior financial bid. I don't think there was ever going to be any ambiguity. It was always going to go to the highest bidder, and you just have to accept that. That's real life.
Yeah, absolutely. Having been involved in many a negotiation with rights down through the years, it does boil down to that. It doesn't matter. I don't want to get into whether BT offered great punditry or their Sky were this or that. It just boils down to just give us the figure. That's all they're caring about. The question I would ask you, Simon, is it a good situation just to have one main broadcaster, or do you think they could have split it again between the two? Was there any benefit to that whatsoever? Do you think one? Because we've heard it for weeks and suddenly it comes to fruition.
Listen, I think we've been down that path recently. Sky and BT have, and it's personal preference. They've competed against each other, although the product on the park is the same. In terms of the Scottish Premiership, but money talks in the end. I think just to be thankful to get that money in for the next few years, and as Ruffy says, I think we've got a lot to be proud of with our division. I think even the likes of Kilmarnock pushing now, Aberdeen, Hibs, Hearts, Rangers, Celtic in the top flight, and you could maybe only argue the likes of Dundee United out of that these days. So it's Partick Thistle, Ruffy.
Yeah, absolutely. Steady, you're already getting pelters on Twitter. The last thing you need is another argument. You and that McNamara boy.
We've got a lot to be positive about, and it's competitive, and the money's always welcome.
Yeah. Okay. One little last point on this before we start talking about other issues today. Is it a situation where there's a saturation point with the fans because they're being asked to split their money across so many different broadcasters to get the football that they crave? Premier Sports has suddenly come into it, and you've got Sky Sports there as well. It's a lot for subscriptions to ask for these football fans.
I do think it is a lot. I think for the normal punter, if you're paying out for a season ticket or you're taking kids to games sporadically through the season and then you're paying 3 different subscriptions, I do think it's a lot. I also think that when it gets to 2020 and the BT contract comes to an end, that there will be very, very few Scottish subscribers that would maintain their BT subscription if you're going to get the majority of the Scottish games, top flight games on Sky. I just think BT will see the dip when it comes to Scottish football figures and people putting their hand in their pocket.
Strangely enough, on that point, Ruffy, I like Champions League football.
Yeah,
and they've got a stranglehold on it.
Yeah, I think you've got to take it into consideration as well as the armchair viewer. There's not everybody can afford to go to a football game and pay £100 and take the kids. So the option is there for them to decide, whether they can afford another 10 quid or whatever. But you're right, people will make decisions in what they're going to do.
Yeah. Strangely enough, though, if you're looking at the markets and saying to yourself, are you going to get value for money? BT, it's reported, made less of an offer. But when you consider they're putting their money into the Champions League, are they going for a bigger slice of the market where people will subscribe for that? That's why I think it's a great deal getting Sky on board with that figure. Some people might think it's worth more, but I thought that was a great bit of business.
Yeah, I think so. But I just like the guys are saying as well, it's came to a point now where you're paying 3 or 4 different subscriptions. I think they lost the Spanish football, Sky lost the Spanish football to another company recently, I think, with the German as well. So you end up having to fork out, you know, if you want to cover all this, whereas back in the day it was just one subscription.
Yeah, absolutely. And in Ruffy's day, it's only 3 channels, Ruffy. You know, it's simple. You know, you watched BBC, then STV, and then if you were really forced into it, you were forced into watching Panorama on BBC Two. It's as simple as that, wasn't it, Ruffy?
Go further back and you had to watch Andy Pandy.
And on that note, I'm moving on to something which I mean, I'm still trying to work out why they released it. I'm sure it's a good bit of PR, but Celtic have conducted their own examination from the Institute of Economists to suggest to everyone that, you know, as a football club, they contribute a lot to the Scottish economy, 165 million to Scotland's economy annually. It's a strange, you know, insight from Celtic and press release. It's almost like a backslapping exercise.
Well, I think it's well known that if we can attract any big massive tournament or game or whatever, I think the traders in the town say that it brings money into their coffers. So Celtic have done their figures, you know, and I'm sure if they run in the Champions League and everything, you can see the fans in the town, you know, and big numbers. So I wouldn't be surprised with these figures if that's what they're saying.
Yeah, bringing more money than the Commonwealth Games to Scotland's economy, the 25th strongest brand in world football. I suppose, like any club that's successful, we should be thankful that they do actually boost the economy. But I just found it a wee bit out of left field. I'm thinking, why would you conduct that in the first place, Alison?
Yeah, I suppose if you're in Celtic's shoes, then you're wanting to say, look, this gives us quite a fair bit of credibility when it comes to taking us seriously as an economic force in the country. I think quite often football is overseen, and when it's compared to other sports, I think maybe rugby and athletics are almost marketed at it's a different class almost, isn't it? So the perception of football can almost be a bit oafish. And I think when you see the actual figures, when you see the money that it generates for the economy, I think when you put it down on the table and it's as stark as the figures that are today, then I think it just lets it be seen that you have to be taken with some credibility, and there has to be some seriousness taken with the clout that you bring to the economy.
Yeah, okay. So from Celtic's economy, last couple of points. Martin Boyle, he's done well. Simon scored a double on his Australian debut. Did we miss a trick? Should we have suddenly put him on in a Scotland game?
Why not? You know, I think I've followed his career from when he was at Dundee. As a player that I like, I think Lenny's got the best out of him at Hibs. You know, he's really came to the fore. And we as a nation can't afford to give up too many good players, but it's great to see what an opportunity for him, you know, and getting a couple of goals in his debut. It's great for him. Yeah, well done to Martin. Last point, Charlie Adams says he's looking to come back to Scotland. You know, when you announce that sort of thing and it hits Twitter, it's never good, Ruffy. Somebody's already leathered him and said, why does he want to come back here? His legs have gone fairly harsh, but I suppose Charlie just wants to come home. I'm not too sure he'll get the pick of his own club.
I don't think he'll get the same wages either that he's on at this precise moment in time. It's a good bit of publicity in the papers. It remains to be seen whether Rangers actually want him.
Yeah, don't you moan about it, by the way. He bought us dinner that night we went for the interview with him. I can't believe you've forgotten that. Anyway, good luck to Charlie if he does indeed decide to come back. We are all heading off to the game. Enthusiastic Scots. When was the last time we actually mentioned that? Let's hope Alex McLeish and the boys can get a positive result against Israel. Thanks to Ruffy, to Alison McConnell and to Simon Donnelly. Don't forget you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and get us Monday to Friday.